kind of night," she said, pouring half the cocoa into the sink. She pulled a bottle of Jameson Irish whiskey from the kitchen cabinet and topped off her cup. "I'm serious. No cops," she said. "And definitely you can't tell Mom." Dave shook his head slowly. "I don't know, Mare. Don't you think Mom should—" "No!" Meredith screamed. "No, no, no!" The tears started to flow again, and she wiped her face in her sleeve. "He said if I tell her—" She fortified herself with the cocoa. "He said if I tell her, she's next." 2 more shots of Jameson later, Meredith was ready for bed. "Thank you," she said. "I don't know what I'd have done without you guys." She hugged them both and gave each one a soft kiss on the cheek. A kid-brother kiss. Not nearly the one Gideon had been dreaming of for years. "One more favor," she said, tossing her clothes on the floor. "Burn these." The stretched jeans burned slowly. "I wish Enzo Salvi's balls were in there," Dave said, finishing off his 3rd beer as the flames crept up the denim crotch. For more than a year, the Hitler thing had been Gideon's favorite argument. "Do you think Hitler was a nice guy when he was in high school?" he would ask Dave. "No, he was an evil, crazy fuck," he'd say, not waiting for an answer. "And he got worse and worse. Don't you think the world would be a better place if someone whacked Hitler when he was still young? Because Howard Beach sure as hell would be a better place if someone killed Enzo Salvi." Dave's standard response was always, "You're crazy." But tonight, as he watched his sister's clothes turn into ashes, it no longer sounded so crazy. "It's my fault," Dave slurred. "I'm 3 payments behind." "Bullshit," Gideon said. "Nobody rapes a guy's sister over $60. Enzo Salvi is a psycho." Dave popped the top on another Bud Light and finally asked the question Gideon had been waiting to hear. "How would we do it?" 2. The next afternoon, Gideon went to the comic book store and sold his Spawn collection at a painfully cheap price. "Thanks," Dave said, knowing he had no other way to get the money to pay off Enzo. "Killing this prick is expensive," Gideon said, "but it's worth it." For the next 3 weeks, the 2 boys thought, rethought, and overthought the murder, watching episodes of CSI and renting as many movies as they could find starring Jet Li, Jackie Chan, and Jean-Claude Van Damme. They jogged on the beach, lifted weights, and tried to bulk up on Joe Weider's Megamass 4000. "Enzo's been on steroids since freshman year," Dave said, as the 2 of them downed one of their 3 daily protein shakes. "That means his balls are shrinking," Gideon said. "No, it means we could drink this chocolate shit forever, and he'd still have twice as much muscle as the 2 of us put together." Gideon raised his glass in a toast. "Who gives a shit?" he said. "We'll still have bigger balls." It didn't feel really real until they decided on a weapon. They put together a list of possibilities with the pros and cons next to each one. A gun had the most pros. It was almost guaranteed to do the job, but it also had the most cons. Guns were hard to come by and easy to trace. In the end, they decided on the oldest weapon in the world and the easiest to get their hands on: a club. "It worked for the cavemen," Dave said. They took the subway to Royale Sporting Goods in Brooklyn and paid $62 for a 34-inch Brett Brothers Stealth Bat in black. Next, they headed over to AutoZone for a box of diamond grip latex gloves. Then, they waited. It had to be a Friday night. Most of the kids at John Adams High paid Enzo off in cash, but Gideon worked in the stockroom at Tonello's liquor store and had to steal a bottle of vodka every week. Every Friday after work, he would trudge out to the dunes across from the Salvi house on 165th Avenue and hand over the booze to Enzo. They zeroed in on the day after Thanksgiving. There was no school that day, and if they were lucky, Enzo would be drunk by the time he showed up. As always at this time of year, the dunes were damp and cold, but Gideon was dressed for it. Carhartt waterproof gear, ski cap, Timberlands. Enzo, as usual, didn't show up on time. 5 minutes, 10. At 15, the mind game started. He knows. He's not coming. He's going to let me freeze out here. And then, when I finally give up, he's going to kill. Where's that faggot?